I'm taking it as a question.
Okay.
As simple as you can make it. What's the problem?
I was in a state that sort of the worst state in my life, but
there was something more to it. You were
and
afraid
I
of
had
something.
no way of knowing how to get out of it.
But you were afraid of something.
And well, mortality was just facing me square in my face.
Mortality.
Well, my death.
Oh,
physical
you're
death.
All right. So here's my answer, for it's a very simple answer. I'm doing everything that I can do to help you to do something creative and useful about the fact that you're going to die. There is no cure for death. There's no remedy for death. But there is a remedy for life. Okay? I can tell you what it is. Very simple. And this goes back to, I think this is in Lost Works. Lost Works, I think, carries this thing. It's called the Avatar's Handbook. I wrote it. The second thing I wrote was Avatar's Handbook, I think. And it was, the idea in mind was that the core idea was that you would create a room or a series of rooms, a chamber or a series of chambers, inner world chambers, and in that world you would learn to work. Now, what I was describing is called quantum today, but there was no word for it then. Well, some people had a word for it in 1926, quantum, but it wasn't out there. So, what I was looking for was a way to explain this. What I now have is not just words to explain, I can show you. Here's what I've done. First of all, for a number of reasons, you, like a lot of people, hundreds of people, cannot just pick up everything and come and live on the ashram. For one thing, who the hell can support you? For another thing, you shouldn't do that. There's no reason to anymore. Because what I've done is I've created a virtual ashram for you to put an avatar, a representative. Okay. You have only one opportunity to use your life. One chance, slim chance, to use your life for anything other than to live until you die. If you're living just waiting to die, that's the title of my next book, Waiting to Die. It's what to do while you're waiting to die that I actually am writing. And here's how I'll explain how it works. You yourself do not have the time, ability, energy, or the money and leisure time, the leisure, to put yourself into an ashram and to harness yourself to karma yoga work, to work. What I've done is created an environment for you where you can send your avatar to work in your place for you. Now you have to drive the car. You can't just mail your avatar in. You have to drive the car, get there. And then you hook up the avatar to a work program, and then you leave it there all day, letting it work in that work program. And at night you pull it off, put it into meditation, put it into a mystical journey, into a night journey. Give it some skywalking skills and so forth. All these things that you can't do for yourself, you can do for this work partner of yours, called the avatar. And when that happens, it has a backwash effect. It comes back at you from the benefits that you are performing on behalf of your avatar. Now, the avatar is just a bunch of pixels. That's all it is, a bunch of pixels that you're working for. You should see or hear what the avatar on that end is thinking about you. Because you're just as unreal, just as weird looking to it. Because from that point of view, that perspective, see, that avatar has a real life. If you have a super beacon and a matrix, and you're wearing the correct amulet, when you snap on your computer and you log in, you'll also log in transdimensionally automatically, because those instruments will take you, your consciousness, where it needs to be. Your life, the whole of it, is a demo. The only way it isn't is if you can pull the character off the demo mode. There is no way to do that except to work directly with help. You need higher help to do that. So, normally you would move to an ashram where a guru could help you to do exactly that, to empower your journey, to empower your flight. You need to turn on the juice. Now you don't have to do that. You send your avatar to the ashram there, and at that ashram, there is an operating guru who empowers your journey, your avatar's journey. The avatar is superior to the organic, not by much, but just enough that it makes it a washdown effect very, very likely. Not guaranteed, but likely. Normally, in your normal life, you would be not just unable to help, you yourself would be helpless. You are helpless. You can't do anything but wait to die. In the ashram, you can't, but your character, your avatar, can learn. All you've got to do is bring it there. That's your job. Your avatar learns the work, the meaning of the work, what the work is, how to do the work, how to perform the work. With your help, it performs those tasks. In the virtual ashram, there is a character in there who knows exactly how to pursue the work. Anyway, so you had a very valuable experience in feeling the imminence of your mortality. This is very good. But I mean, everybody shares that experience at some point. Whether they do it earlier or later, they do eventually come up with it. Hey, this body is dying. The only cure I have, the only remedy I have is you can't stop it from dying, but you can give over your life in the support of an avatar, in support of an avatar's work. And so you become a partner, a work partner with that avatar. It is, he's saying, it is you, but it's you in a different reality, different world, different stream, different life stream. And it's not even sideways or related, or you can't even vector to it. The only thing you can do is teleport to it, if anything. And you wouldn't survive if you did.
A major trap. There's a major misconception about how things work. And I don't know where this comes from, but it seems to be absolutely pervasive. And the notion is that you learn and study and prepare until you have this sense of, okay, I'm ready. Then you work. And what you must have noticed with your episode is that this point along some graph, when you feel prepared to work and you feel and you have that piece of paper, whatever you think they're going to hand out, that does not
the
seem
samadhi
to be on
certificate.
This side. It's not on.
Yeah.
It's not on this side of that death point.
Yeah.
None of us are going to have that sense of I'm ready, I'm prepared, I've got it before we hit the end of the rails.
Unless you're pulled up by a higher force or a higher agency. So this is a way of working for a higher agency and actually doing work. See, normally you don't know what to do and you wouldn't know how to go about it, and not only that, but since it requires things like flying, cloud walking, sky walking, It involves invocational skills. It involves skills of transdimensional travel. It involves 7-league boot travel, things like that. You can't do those things. To you, those are fantasy. Those are in children's books and in comic books and in television shows. No. In some worlds, those are realities. And in this particular world you get to work in, magic is actually the operant law. And now is the time when you need all that stuff, because you've got to make one last dash, one last spurt of effort, of energy. So here you have the opportunity to help someone else. You can't ask for better karma than that. You can't ask for better. When you are of help, when you're of service, it's much better than when you're doing it for yourself, as anyone knows who's done anything like that. Even if you don't know what you're doing, your avatar does. Even if you can't work, your avatar can. And even if you can't survive this life, your avatar can survive and help you to further your work, bring you along in the work. Why? Because you were useful to it. The only thing you can do about death and dying, really, the only thing you can do is, while you have a chance to, get yourself a place in the work. If you're working for an avatar who is in the work, you will automatically go to that avatar. You'll be assigned to that avatar. You're as if in the work. It looks like you're in the work. So the work, you look like a worker. And the work will keep you in the work. So you're right, you are going to die. Then you're going to find yourself in a similar situation, and here's that same avatar that needs your help to go further. Only this time, it's not just you. Now you're working with a group of 7 others in a different dynamic. So right now you're a buck private, and what I recommend is that you get yourself up to the level of at least major or colonel before you leave this world. That means you need to learn to work? No, you don't have to learn to work. All you got to do is drive your avatar to work. So if you can drive your avatar to work, you don't actually ever have to learn how to work, because the avatar knows how. All you got to do is give the avatar the energy, the time, the attention, the effort that you can give it to help drive that work. And that's how you're going to survive, not with your body. And you will actually be required to speak to a group from time to time through your avatar. Your avatar must express itself under certain circumstances. They will be rather academic circumstances. You can even read on behalf of, but something where your voice comes through the avatar is very important. And I'll tell you, what you're trying to do is to teleport out of this, off this rock, in a sense. You're trying to go transdimensional. When you do that, your organic body will no longer matter to you. Will no longer worry about being dead or alive, whatever it is, because you'll be free of the body. The sooner that happens, the better. Through your avatar is the only way it's going to happen. Your avatar is going to make it possible for you to be free of the body and of its history and of all of its miseries. So you can actually shift out of body. You'll be able to shift out of body. You yourself won't be able to bring that about there for someone to pass. And here's something else I was going to mention, is that when you do pass, we install an avatar in your place permanently in the ashram. And at that point, the more you've done for that avatar, the more it will be able to exercise its considerable powers on your behalf. It's sort of transactional, but it isn't, because that avatar is thoroughly dependent upon you. If you don't do it, nobody will, and it won't get done. See, that's yours to do. That's your work to do. Whether you do it now or later is another thing. Now, you eventually are going to have to do that work for your avatars anyway. But you can put it off and put it off and put it off and stay in as much misery as you want to for as long as you want to stay in misery.
I don't.
If you like the world of pain, this is the right place. So, the faster you get to work and the better you do that job, the better you'll feel, the better in the end you'll feel. All right, now, why bother to have lived at all then? Okay, so if your life is worthless, if you've done nothing with your life except accumulate shit all your life, at the end of it, you'll say, I blew it. I really blew it. But if you worked for your avatar, to help your avatar to achieve its work status, you've at least used an otherwise useless life for something very high, a very high purpose, which could actually benefit you in return. Willing to serve in the sandbox, the meat grinder, if you're willing to serve there, even if you're not worth work at all, if you're not work worthy in any other respect, but you're willing to do the work in this miserable environment, if you're willing to be a driver, you will get picked up, you'll get carried, because there's very few individuals who are willing to be drivers. A lot of folks end up in this shit universe, this bottom-end universe, just walking around hurt, just hurting, because this is a world of pain. It's a world of hurt. If you simply ignore that it's a world of hurt and you look at the work opportunity here, you showed up. You showed up for the work. You went to all the trouble of coming here and showing up for the work. So now do it. At least do it. Don't just show up for the work and then not. You should show up and do it. The frustration of not being able to work here, of not being able to exercise the powers that are needed for work, will all go away as soon as you get into that other dimension and start working in there. You'll see you have those powers naturally. You remember always having them, but you don't have them here. But here is where you get to be a driver. And so you can advance yourself in the work by learning to be a driver, an apprentice, before moving on to mastery. Somebody has to drive. If you're willing to do it, you're very valuable to the work.